Floyd P. Roberts. This is Floyd for Home Street by Floyd P. Roberts. Hey, I miss you guys. It's been a minute. It's been a really New York minute, and I really miss you guys. I've been busy doing some other things, so I've been waiting. We wanted to wait to see what the Fed was going to do for the new year, for the end of the quarter, right? Want to see if they're going to lower the interest rates to make it easier in buying a home, but not necessarily buying a home or selling a home. But anyway, I was waiting to see what was going on. So, and this was happening. So the Feds met on the end of May, May 30th, April 1st, and April Fools, they didn't do anything. They did not budge at all. They decided to wait. Left everything unchanged. The rates are the same. They decided to not turn anything because inflation is still up there. I'll go over the numbers in a minute, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. And also, they just said, you know what? We're not going to touch interest rates. They're going to leave them the same throughout probably the third quarter. We're probably going to see something changes at the end of the year, probably like maybe November, December. And the reason is that a lot of people need to move. A lot of people need to do different things. And we're still looking at an interest rate right now. The average as of today, the 30-year fix is 7.6. 7.6. All right, so it hasn't been changed since 2023. It's almost went up a little, down like 3%, 7.3, but nothing significantly changed a lot. Okay, so the average 15 years is 6.7. So if you want to pay off your home, so you get a 15-year mortgage, you get a 6.7, and the average 10 to 15 is 8.6. That's the ARM if you want to do that fluctuating rate, if you want to do that. So it doesn't change much. Interest rates did not change much at all. Within the past, I would say year, since 2023. And the Fed just, inflation is still not doing much. The economy, if people talk about the economy is doing great. The economy, to me, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was prior to 4 years ago. If you want to look back at interest rates where it was 4 years ago. Now we're talking about, we can't go back in the future. Back in the past, right? Back to the future. We can't go back in the past, but we can look back and see what happened, where they were. So if you look back at the interest rates back in 2019, you'll see it's 2.2, 2.3%. That's when people were financing ridiculously lower rates, and people are locked in right now. So you fast forward 4 years later, 2023, 24, people are sitting on low interest rates. I'm talking about 2-3%. And I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day. He's locked in at 2.5, and he said he's not budging, he's not going anywhere. So he's like, we're saying, look, so if you were to sell, where are you going to go? Well, look at this. If you refinance today, if you refinance your home today, and you're in a 2.3, that brings you up to a 7.6. Yeah, you have more equity. Yes, you have your the house is more, but you're paying more for your money. You're paying more on the money that you're borrowing at this rate. So people are like, to take advantage of that. Yeah, the situations are different. You can move up and move different places, but you have to really capitalize on the money. You have to move out of state. You will have to leave the state, wherever and go somewhere to capitalize on that money, or just bite the bullet and negotiate wherever you can and pay. If you want to move up or move down, where you're going to move, you will have to do that. And this is creative financing, so you might be able to take care of that. So everything in a nutshell, basically everything's the same. The 30-year fix is 7.6. I think that's relatively high. The Feds did say, though, this is one promising thing, by 2025, we're looking at a 2% decrease. We're looking at a 2% decrease in the rates within the next year or so, by 2025. And I'll tell you why that is in a minute. Just my opinion. You know what? Hey, it's just my opinion. It doesn't really count, but I just want to let you know what I think. And if you think the same thing, just reach out to me. Hey, Floyd, I think that's good. Leave your comments in the comment section down below and let me know. So anyway, like I was saying, the reason why I think that the inflation, the interest rates are going to go down within the next year, by time November, December, January 1st of this year, it is an election year. We're going to have a new president or the same one. We don't know, but they're thinking, the feds are thinking it's a possibility. We have a change in command at the in Washington, so things are going to be changed. That's my opinion. I really do think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a change, and the economy, buyers are going to buy more. They feel better if there's another person in the White House. That's what I'm thinking. It just makes sense compared to like another, say, 4 years ago, where if you look back, things were better. Just look at it. Things were better. Your life was better because interest rates, inflation was down, all that. So I'm just thinking, I don't know, that's my opinion. So leave your comments down below. Hey, Floyd, you're crazy. Hey, Floyd, you're right on point. Let me know. All right, text me. Anyway, so we're going to inflation. Here's another point too. Inflation is at as of today, 3.48%. Okay, compared to around 4 years ago. Look back at that. Look, the numbers don't lie. If you fact check it, look back 4 years ago. All right, we're talking real estate here. This is all real estate related, and I'll pinpoint it and I'll tell you why all this come together. 4 years ago, look back at the inflation. Inflation got all the way to 8%, maybe 9%, almost double digits. All right, so you got to look back at that. And you say, where was that? Okay, and within the past 4 years, look back at it, it came down. The normal interest rate, the normal inflation, is anywhere from 2 to 5%. That's normal. And today, we're budging at the 3.48. You round it off to 3.5. It's still relatively high. And if you look back 4 years ago, 2019, it was at 1%, 1 to 2%. And that's the ideal inflation that you want. Okay, so look back, fact check it. Hey, let me know. Leave the comments down below if you see that. Okay. All right. So the inflation was 1 to 2% prior 4 years ago. Look at it, check it, and I tell you why. Because the economy was great. Things were booming. Homes were selling. It was a lot better festive mood. Okay, so now that's the inflation, right? Anywhere 2 to 3 to 5, we're at 3.48. Okay, and the interest and the 30-year fix with interest rates still up there. They're not moving. Okay, we got inflation. Now let's go to unemployment. Today, unemployment is around 3.3% to 4%. Okay, now that's moderate. 4 years ago, coming out the pandemic, not a lot of people were working. So obviously it was a little higher, right? Because coming out of the pandemic, different things was going on. So a lot of things were different. Now, what did this have to do with real estate? It has a lot to do with real estate. Basically because people, you need a job, right? Or in your career, a lot of people working from home. You really couldn't go anywhere. You really couldn't move. A lot of things was shut down. But now coming out, I think we're out past the pandemic, but we're still recovering from it on a lot of places. Because you got to remember, people are locked in at that 2.5%, maybe 3%. So now we're getting locked in. People want to move. People start back to school. People are graduating. All these things that people want to do, and they're still sitting on that 2.3 to 2.5%. So we have what's called a pent-up demand. Is a pent-up demand for homes, and now what we're seeing is we're starting to see a lot more listings coming up. Okay, coming out. Just around the neighborhood, we're looking about 3, 4, 5 homes for sale. People are starting to move. Where are they going? I don't know, but I can tell you, most of them that I talk to, they're moving out of state. People that I helped sell the last 3 homes, the people are gone out of state. They're moving, and some people are moving up and down, buying condos, in retirement homes, stuff like that, but staying in California for the most part. But people are moving. I just read an article last week that our governor said that the exodus out of California slowed down, and it's showing that because I personally think, I don't know, I'll share that in a minute. But anyway, the inflation, unemployment, interest rates all have everything to do with people buying home. Like I said, you're sitting on 2.5 to 3% interest rate locked in. That's when you're paying low mortgage. You're paying a low mortgage. Who is going to refi and pay more money out? Who's going to do that with the uncertainty of you may be losing your job and paying more money? Now you got to understand the interest rates that if you get 7.6, that's the amount of the rate that you pay on the money that you're borrowing. That's the interest rate that you're paying on it. Now, when they lower that, yes, you're paying less for the money that you're going to borrow, but the thing is, you are paying more for the money you're borrowing. But if you may pay more for the house, but if the house is affordable and you pay less money that you borrow, you're ahead of the game. Now it's different because if the house is lower, then now you're paying less money. So it goes back and forth. But the interest rate is for the money that you're borrowing. That is the interest rate. So that's the biggest thing right here. So if you're sitting and you're paying only for say 2.5, 3%, and you sell your home and you buy another home at 7.6, that means you're paying $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 more per month, average, for a mortgage. Now, who's going to do that? If you have a lot of money, you can afford it. Hey, that's no big deal. Let's do it. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about for the average person that have a job, that work hard for their money and trying to save a nest egg for their family, retirement, and all these other things that you need, the vacation or whatever you want to do with your family. It's kind of hard. It may kind of strap you, right? Leave the comments down below. If Floyd, if you agree with me, just let me know. Hey, but if you sell your home right now today, where are you gonna go? You gotta go out of state. So that's why the interest rates, the unemployment, all these other things comes into effect. That's why I'm mentioning these things to you, because that if you're going to move, list your house with me. All these things you need to talk about. What you're gonna do, how you're gonna do it. Are you gonna get set up of where you're going, either out of state or you're going to stay here? What you're gonna do. It's very important that you talk about these things and what you're gonna do. So that's what you got to think about. That's why it's the midweek market news. Midweek market news. We talk about the market. We talk about everything that affects the market, and everything does affect the market. Everything, money that you earn, the interest rate that you pay, the loans from the bank, the inflation. Okay, that means when you get high inflations, companies can't operate anymore, so they have to lay people off. And you may be one of those people that they lay off. Then now you have to find another job, and the only job that may come available is out of state, and it's something that may pay more, and you capitalize on that money. You're sitting on equity. If you bought a house or how long you've been in your house, you're sitting on equity, and then you can buy your house outright in wherever you're going to go, and it's a win-win situation if you leave or if you stay, however you work it. So that's what you got to think about, and when you're consulting a real estate professional, a real estate consultant, that's what all the topic, the conversation needs to be about. How it's going to affect your family, how it's going to affect you, what you're going to do, how are you going to go about it. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to just mention, we're talking about here is is NAR. A lot of people have been asking me, Floyd, what's up with that settlement? The NAR gets sued. How's that going to affect you guys? Is real estate going to change? What's going to happen? The fact of the matter is, things change all the time. The weather change, people change, situations change, tax code changes, all these other things changes all the time. But of course, it's going to change. Everything that's supposed to stay the same forever. But yes, NAR it's a class action lawsuit. They got sued, and I'll dive into that little at another section I'm going to do. We'll talk more about that probably next week. The changes are coming in July, pending approval from the courts. But some things definitely will change. I can tell you one thing for sure, actually two things. One thing that is going to change is what's called buyer's compensation. Buyer's compensation is how we get paid. And I want to talk about how real estate agents get paid and how that's supposed to happen. That is going to change. There's no way around it. That definitely buyer's compensation is going to change. And then that's going to be negotiated with the seller, which is supposed to be anyway. That's what you talk about. If you hired me to sell your home, we have to talk about how am I going to get paid and what percentage and what compensation that you want to give the buyer, the person that's bringing the person to buy your home, how much you want to pay them. So that's going to be that's the caveat of all this is like, what you gonna willing to pay. And I think, me personally, I really don't think much is gonna change in this. It's gonna change for the better, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I think it's gonna change for the better is because everyone's gonna come down to the table and iron things out and work it out and get things on paper, and everyone is gonna talk about it and discuss what is gonna happen. Before, a lot of times, and I think that's a lot of people get in trouble with this, is that, they contact a person, they just list something and don't tell the person how much they're going to charge them, and just go. And at the end of the day, Mrs. or Mrs. Joe Blow get their buyer's agreement and get their HUD-1 and the settlement or whatever, and say, hey, I didn't know I was going to pay all this money, or whatever the situation is, and then I didn't know this. I didn't know I was going to pay you that much. So that's why this new law comes into effect. It's going to change the way people have the conversation. It's going to change the way agents get paid. It's going to change the way selling agent gets paid. I think it's going to put everybody on the same page so they know what's going on. That's what's supposed to be. That was supposed to be. We don't know yet. I mean, it's going to be interesting because you can't list, buyer's compensation before you can put it on the MLS. It's not going to be there anymore. And it's going to have the creative ways and what you want to give for your buyer's compensation. Basically, is how much commission you're going to pay out to the person that's bringing the buyer to your home. And it's going to create a lot of different things. But in the scope of things, it's designed for the seller and the buyer to have total transparency of what is going on. And I think it's a good thing. It's for agents to sit down and really talk and get to know their clients and actually do their job. Not saying they don't do their job, but actually do their job, a better job in communicating with the buyer and the seller to know and let them know what is going on in transparency in their document, in their agreement. I think it's a great thing. I think the change is great. I think it's going to change a lot of things. People that don't like to talk to people, guess what? You're going to have to get out and actually talk to people. You're going to actually get out and do your job. I'm not saying you don't do your job, but a better job in communicating. There's a lot of things that get misconstrued with agents, banks, everyone in this, for this matter. within title, within everything is all convoluted. But I think this way is a better way to get things done. And granted, not everything is set in stone. They may change it. They may just change everything, because I think there was nothing wrong with the way they're doing it previously. I didn't think there's anything wrong with it. But the new way is designed to get people to communicate. And another thing too, the two things I was telling you about, that may be three, but the main thing is that if you hire me to represent you in buying a home, you have to what's called sign a buyer agreement. Okay, with me. You contracted me to help you purchase a home for a period of time. And that thing has been in play for a very long time, but not a lot of people used it. Not a lot of agents used it. I personally didn't use it. I used it probably once or twice, probably. But that's going to be law. You have to be on the contract with that person for a period of time to purchase a house. And I will go into that on another show. I'll probably talk about that next week. But the reason is that a lot of people, sellers, buyers, they get to talk, and then they just go ahead and they say they just want to do the deal and cut the selling agent out, or the buying agent. You can't do that. So what they're designed to do, that's designed to lock in the buyer's agent. You're in contract with me for maybe 6 months or a month or a week or whatever to buy your home, to help you find a home. And in that time, we're gonna talk about how I'm gonna work for you, what I'm gonna do. Am I gonna put you on the list so you get all the homes? Are we gonna go out every week? Or what are we gonna do? We're gonna list everything that I'm gonna do for you, or what we're gonna do in that time. So like I said, it's really designed so people can communicate, sit down and go over the details, and everybody's on the same page of how the transaction is going to happen. That's the design for it. Whether or not that happens like that, because we are humans, we're faulty and we make mistakes. So that's designed to get a better communication with everyone on the same page. And we'll talk about more. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do that. Leave it. If you like that, leave the comments right below here. Let me know what you think. I want to know so we could get that content for you next week. I'm gonna do it anyway, but let me know if this was helpful for you. If any questions that you may have, let me know, and I'll get those questions for you. Other than that, Home Street by Floyd P. Roberts. It's been a minute. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. And I'll see you next week. Bye.